Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals. Welcome back to Botany Snippets. My name's Kate, and today we're asking, why isn't my cactus blooming? So there's a number of potential reasons why a cactus might not be blooming, whether it's the weather or environmental conditions aside from the weather or something else entirely. So I found a couple of good blogs about it that I will link in the description down below, but main points are it could be too cold where you are, it could be too hot, there could be not enough sunlight getting to the plant, there could be too much water. It's a number of situations, basically, yeah. Also, there are certain species of cacti that take 50 to 100 years to flower at all. Like the saguaros that I mentioned 2 days ago, I think need about 75 years before they start flowering. So if you see one that is flowering, that one's old. That one's seen some stuff, probably. Especially out in the desert. Gets kind of weird out there sometimes. Still cool, but like, Yeah, but most of them are too much water, too much heat, which sounds odd for an arid species, but cacti can get a sunburn too. So I'll get into that at a later date, but yeah, so too much water, too much heat, and not enough sunlight, because most species need sunlight to flower. Some could do with just like a bright light, but most need sunlight. And so if you want a shorter time till bloom, there's a couple of species that might be better for you than others. So if you want an indoor cactus, for example, that is flowering, the Mammillaria would be a good option. The Geminocalcium, also a good option. Or Peroda, that could be a possibility. Or the most common that I've heard about is the Nodocactus. Most cacti do need a kind of dormancy period, like a freeze dormancy period. It doesn't have to be freezing, really. If it's freezing, then they might die. But like a frost period, like you would see with garlic or onions if you are trying to bloom them later, if you're trying to grow it from the bulb. So if you put your cactus in a cold spot in your house, for example, if you're living in an area that you would need to bring it in from the outside during the winter because it snows or just generally gets really cold, that would be good, because if it gets below 20 Fahrenheit or -6 Celsius, it's probably gonna die if you don't do that. But if you put your cactus in a cold spot, then it'll activate the blooming mechanisms and be able to have flowers when the plant system comes back online after the dormancy period that is winter. Also of note, if your cactus is in a dormant state, do not water it. It can't really absorb water at that point, and it's gonna make a whole lot of problems. So just don't water your cactus at all if it's in a dormant state. It's not gonna end well. But yeah, just wait until the cactus has resumed growing and is no longer in a dormant state before you start watering. That helps flowers to bloom. And especially if the cactus is in an active state rather than dormant, you want to keep your cactus friend in a sunny spot, ideally by like an east-facing window, so that it gets morning sun. If it's a tropical variety, though, it needs kind of dappled sun to mimic the canopy overlay. Otherwise, if it's a desert cactus, then full sun should be okay. Also, if you're giving your cactus fertilizer, because they're a plant, they need food, fertilizer is good. However, do not use a nitrogen fertilizer on a cactus or succulent, because you'll end up with really spindly growth, and it's not good. It's really not good. However, if you use a high phosphorus or bloom booster, as they're sometimes called, fertilizer, that works. That helps the plant. But if you use nitrogen, that's not a good. Just stay away from that altogether. Phosphorus you can work with though. Or they generally have cactus specific ones too. So it's with the tropicals, but if you're just using something that's regular off the shelf, phosphorus would be good. So, and then as to when the cactus blooms, it can depend again on the species. Some are late spring, summer sort of period. Some are the middle of winter. It just depends on the plant's genetics and what they're adapted to do. So, past that, it just depends. Yeah, that's about it. Again, the source links are going to be in the description down below, and along with all of my social media links and the link to the podcast that I do about poisons and creepy sort of plants and politics, because that's in there. Last video that I uploaded is up here. Something that YouTube thinks you might like is over here. My second channel, where I do basically anything that's not plants, is over here. And I will see you on Monday. Alright. Have a good one. If you have any suggestions or recommendations or requests or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I read them. Alright. Have a good one. Bye. Am I even in frame? I don't know. Let's check. He's facing. Yeah.